Every great civilization, Egypt, Sumer, Greece, China, began with the same mysterious pattern. But what actually creates a civilization? Is it resources? Technology? Or something deeper, hidden in human psychology and geography? It turns out there's a formula, a hidden pattern that has repeated itself across history. Today, we uncover the true blueprint for how civilizations are born. For 99% of human history, we were nomads. For over 200,000 years, our ancestors lived in small, wandering tribes. Life was a constant search for food, safety, and shelter. There were no cities, no writing, no kings, no temples. Just people, surviving day by day. But around 12,000 years ago, in a geological eye blink, something changed dramatically. Humanity began to settle down. And when humans stop moving, they start building. Civilizations don't just pop up randomly. They begin where geography gives humans an advantage. Look at the cradles of civilization. Egypt along the Nile, Mesopotamia between the Tigris and Euphrates, the Indus Valley civilization by its river, and ancient China on the Yellow River. What do they all have in common? Rivers, fertile plains, and stable climates. Why? Because these places allowed humans to do something revolutionary. Produce food, not just find it. Agriculture is the first and most critical spark of civilization. It's the moment we started to tame the planet, instead of just living on it. When humans learned to farm, something unbelievable happened. For the first time in our history, we produced more food than a small group could eat. This food surplus was the game changer. Suddenly, people could store grain for the winter. They didn't have to move every few months. This stability led to a population boom. Small camps grew into permanent villages. But with more people living together, a new challenge emerged: organization. A group of 50 can manage itself. A group of 500 needs structure. With a surplus of food, not everyone needed to be a farmer anymore. This freed up people to take on new roles. Some became tool makers, crafting better plows and pots. Others became builders, creating stronger homes and granaries. Soon you had soldiers to protect the village, priests to explain the world, and traders to exchange goods. This is specialization, and it is the engine of all human progress. The moment specialization appears, knowledge accelerates. Tools become more advanced, buildings get larger, beliefs become organized systems, and trade networks emerge. A village becomes a town. A town becomes a city. As populations grew from hundreds to thousands, so did the potential for conflict. Who owns which piece of land? What happens when someone steals grain? People needed rules and someone to enforce them. This is where the first forms of government were born. It started with tribal elders and councils. Over time, these evolved into powerful kings, pharaohs, and high priests. They created laws to settle disputes, organized massive labor projects like irrigation canals, and managed the food supply. Without order, the fragile new society would collapse back into chaos before it could truly begin. But laws and leaders aren't enough to hold a society together. You need a shared story. Believe it or not, belief systems were one of the most powerful forces uniting early civilizations. Religion gave thousands of strangers a shared identity, a common purpose, and a moral code to live by. It gave meaning to floods, seasons, and life itself. In fact, the very first monumental buildings weren't palaces. They were temples, like the ziggurats of Sumer or the first pyramids of Egypt. Priests often held scientific roles, tracking the stars to create calendars, predicting floods, and legitimizing the ruler's power. Religion unified people under a single worldview, creating the foundation of a shared culture. As societies expanded, their complexity exploded. How do you keep track of thousands of tons of grain? How do you record property lines, trade agreements, and laws? You invent writing. The first writing systems, like Sumerian cuneiform or Egyptian hieroglyphs, weren't for writing poetry. They were administrative tools, glorified spreadsheets for tracking taxes, inventory, and royal decrees. Meanwhile, critical inventions like the wheel, irrigation systems, and the creation of bronze tools boosted productivity and stability even further. When knowledge can be recorded and passed down, a civilization becomes unstoppable. Finally, no civilization thrives in a vacuum. Once a city was established, it began to look outward. Trade brought in new resources like tin for bronze, timber for building, and precious stones for the elite. But it brought something even more valuable: new ideas, new technologies, new beliefs, and new alliances. Through trade, civilizations influenced each other. Mesopotamia gave the world writing and the wheel, which spread to Egypt. Greece learned architecture and philosophy from the Egyptians. Rome then absorbed and perfected Greek ideas, spreading them across Europe. Civilizations grow not just from within, but by absorbing the knowledge of others. So, how are civilizations really born? It's a 7-step formula that is played out time and again. It starts with geography, which allows for agriculture. That creates a food surplus, which leads to permanent settlement and population growth. This allows for specialization, creating new roles and accelerating progress. To manage the growing complexity, you need order through laws and leadership. A shared identity, often through religion, unites the people. And finally, technology like writing and trade with others allow the civilization to grow, expand, and endure. Every great society, from ancient Babylon to the Mayan Empire, followed this fundamental blueprint. And in many ways, we're still following it today. Humanity builds. Humanity organizes. Humanity creates. The next time you look at a sprawling modern city, remember, it's the final stage of a story that began thousands of years ago, with a single seed, a flowing river, and a spark of human cooperation. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey through history fascinating, be sure to subscribe for more.